Hey YouTube! This is Far Was at 23, and it's time for that time when I had a PeriTonsil abscess. So my memory is a little shaky on this. It must have been 2006, 2007, when I was still living in Vermont. One day, just going to work and stuff, and over normal activities, I suddenly realized I was having trouble swallowing. It was just really, I felt like it was going past something as it went down. A little thing at first, I was thinking like, dry, scratchy throat, just let it go over there, whatever. And then I started noticing this bulge right here on my neck that was really starting to concern me. And I had one of my coworkers feel it, and she's like, what is this? And during this whole time, I never bothered just like open my mouth and look at it. I never bothered to do that the whole time. But I was saying I didn't know where to go. I didn't know any facility that could see me. And she said, there's the walk-in emergency clinic at the Northwestern Medical Center up in St. Johnsbury. And I'm like, okay, I'll do that tomorrow. So I went to the clinic, and I actually really couldn't speak at that point. That's how bad this had gotten. And they're checking me in, and I asked for a little sheet of paper that I could write things down so I can give them all my personal information and stuff. I didn't have any medical insurance or anything, but I was explaining what was going on and what the problem was. I don't think I waited that long, but finally a nurse saw me, and she asked me just to kind of briefly describe what was going on. I said, da da da. She's like, okay, open your mouth. She had a little tongue depressor. Open your mouth, please. Right like there, she's like, you have a peritonsil abscess. We're going to bring you into the ER. Okay. So walked me into the ER, walked into a nice little room with like a little table and just a little place where the patient would sit. And doctor came in. So you have a peritonsil abscess. I nodded. Okay. Sit up here, please. So I sat up on the bench. He brought a scalpel into his hand. Open wide, please. She's like, stand still. He put the scalpel into my mouth. He proceeded, the bulge, it was like into my throat. I mean, you could see this thing in the back of my mouth. I never bothered to just look. So he proceeded to attempt to cut the actual peritonsil abscess. The moment he hit the back of my throat, I grabbed it and I pulled that thing out with the force of God. And he's like, don't do that! Because he was really close to my uvula and so he didn't want to cut anything else. But with the nurse there, what we decided was kind of a Lamaze type thing where I would squeeze her wrist while he was doing the cut. So we proceeded again. I'm shaking. I can't describe this feeling, but like somebody's cutting the back of your throat. You're trying to just stay very, very still for them. But what he was effectively doing was he was cutting a square in the back of my throat in that tonsil abscess so it could drain. That's what he was doing. There was no anesthetic, nothing. No anesthesia, no numbing agent, nothing. He just cut the back of my throat. And he said the moment he actually did the first puncture, he actually popped it. It started pussing immediately. And so he got it. He did the final cut he needed. He got the whole square. And, I'm coughing blood and pus and stuff into a little thing he's got for me. And I'm like, I think it actually opened my airway a little bit just because we got rid of all that. And the nurse was asking me, do you want some painkillers or something? Like, I'll be okay. But they did send a prescription to the local pharmacy for me to get amoxicillin just so we could clear out the infection. And he was like, if this happens again, you're going to have your tonsils out. But yeah, that's the story. We did the amoxicillin. It cleared out the infection. It did not come back. And that's the story of how I got a peritonsil abscess.